Courtney and I were talking about ways to build community because community, I think, is one of the most important aspects for our lives. I mean, look, if you look at the places in the world like Sardinia or Okinawa, where people live the longest, one of the largest contributing factors to this longevity is their relationships. Having a support system and a network. And so often we can just detach ourselves, getting caught up in the pressures and the duties of day-to-day life. For example, I've got to do my work to succeed in my career. And then you neglect your family. There's a great poem called My Generation, which I could recite for you right now, but instead I'll just go on with this, and I recommend that you look it up. Maybe I'll post something on it on my blog. But the point is that sometimes we make work more important than family, as opposed to family more important than work. And the joke of it is that the reason why we would ever make work more important is because we'd want to live a good life. Because we want to be successful, to enjoy our time here on this planet, and to bring more happiness and fulfillment to ourselves. Yet, in the very process of trying to attain that, we could lose the very things that bring it out most. For example, our support systems and our families. And I live in LA, and Los Angeles is about as sprawling of a city as it gets. I mean, come on. It's like 50 cities all wrapped up into one, like a burrito. The city is literally a burrito. And it's delicious, don't get me wrong, I love burritos. But the trouble is that, sometimes it can be hard to find the part that you're looking for. You're biting in the front, and it's really not until the end that you get the beans. So, what I'm basically saying is that I've been trying to find ways in order to enhance my community, to bring more of a support system in my life. And I'm lucky because I've got this man's group, Mankind Project, which is phenomenal. It's really one of the best things, if not the best thing I've ever done in my life. But it doesn't just end there. Because, as they say at the Mankind Project, it's not a social group. Our duty when we go in to do man's work is to charge and challenge each other to do the work that we need to do here on this planet, to grow and to stretch. Right? But that's not necessarily having a loving, familial community. Which, they're both important and they're both good. But anyways, so my girlfriend and I were thinking, well, how do we build this loving and soulful community? Right? And my girlfriend said, you should have a dinner. And I said, yeah, that's a great idea. I have dinners all the time. I love dinners. It's such an important thing in my life. And then we were talking a little bit more about it. And I think she brought up, and because I said I wanted it to be doing something. I want to have an action there, because without an action, it's just the dinner gets disorganized, and everyone's sort of running around in different directions, and there's no central focus, so there's nothing to connect around. Right? You have individuals connecting with one another, and maybe what ends up happening is everyone separates into the little groups and end up carrying on conversations for longer than they would have liked to, as opposed to having this nice, convenient way to break the conversation to talk to someone else in the group that they really want to talk to, who's caught up in a conversation with someone else who wants to talk to the person that they're already talking to. Yeah, I know it gets confusing, but you know exactly what I'm talking about. So the idea came up of a show and tell. Come on, when we were little kids, that was one of the most fun things ever. To be able to get in front of the class and show and tell. We didn't have to worry about work and listening to the teacher moan and groan about, math or calculus in elementary school. Yeah, I went to a really advanced elementary school. Math or, history or whatever it is. I remember that was my favorite day at school. It was such a blessing because not only was I excited to share my joy and my passion, but I also got to hear others. I got to get really deep and connect with them and understand who they were as people. And I know, I was a pretty deep kid. I'm like in kindergarten going, I want to connect to your soul, Jimmy. I don't want to just hear about the sandbox, okay? How do you feel about the sandbox? No, really, the grains of sand rolling through your fingers as you hold them up. It's kind of like time, isn't it? Yeah, I could go on forever, and I always did. But, the thing is that how often do we get those opportunities to really connect with one another and figure out what each other's passions are? I'm sure even with your best friends, you don't even know some of their passions. You don't even know some of the things that they're working on. Why? Because we're so busy. And by the time we get around one another, we're so exhausted that we don't even want to go deep. We just want to stay on the surface and relax and make a lot of sighing noises as we speak English. Soulful show and tell dinner. That's what we came up with. So we invited some of our friends, some people we thought might be interested in it. And we picked a time, we picked a date, and we just kind of let it go. I said, hey, bring something you want to share. It could be anything. It could be a poem. It could be a performance. It could be a meditation. It could be words of wisdom. It could be anything you want it to be. Just bring it, and we're going to share it with one another. Sure enough, my friends came, and we spent a long time doing that whole party thing, mingling, and, everyone sort of breaking up and doing their thing. But then we got around the table, and we started sharing. And it went so well. It was past midnight before, even 50% of the people had shared. Only 3 people had shared by midnight. And we started around 8. We'll say 9. It was great. It was soul fulfilling. There were people in that circle who really got the benefit. I really got the benefit. And I'm so glad I did it. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you right now is I'm encouraging you to do your own soulful show and tell dinner. And maybe you do dinners with your friends frequently. If so, great, fantastic. This will add a whole new dimension. Right? You'll learn things again about your friends you might not have known. Right? You'll have them uncover different elements of themselves. Plus, you'll have a great time doing it because you get to connect, but you get to connect on things that people are passionate about. When they're passionate about it, it's fun. It's fun because they want to share it and you see the joy in their eyes. And it opens up discussion and communication because people ask, well, what is it that connects you to that? Or what did that mean for you? Or maybe someone else in the group has a different interpretation of what that person shared, and they share that. And look, now you're going way deeper. You're going down to the benthos, baby. And if you don't have a weekly dinner or something that you connect with your friends with, well, maybe this is a good opportunity to do it and make it potluck. That's what we did, potluck. So you don't have to worry about cooking and food. Everyone just brings something. You get together, and it's not about the food even. It's about joining together in harmony to share your passions and to appreciate and respect and cherish each other's passions. We need more of that in our lives. So much love, many blessings, and start a soulful potluck